All right, welcome to Integration Quest Study Group, May 9th, 2025. We are into season 4 of Anypoint Speedway, so I thought I'd do one with uh, about how to participate and maybe even give some recognition to our current leaders. So this is our leaderboard right now on the Anypoint Speedway. The Anypoint Speedway it's a fun way to learn integration, and all whatever the challenges are always integration related. This season, the challenges are all about AI integrations. So we have some bias detection, and currently we make your own little kind of like Siri or Alexa to compete. And I made it all about Formula One racing, so to kind of keep it light and fun. Because I mean, if you happen to know a lot about Formula One racing, well, you can tell the challenge data is accurate, but it's probably not going to help you. What's going to help you do well in the challenge is coding integrations with AI more than knowing about car races. But I learned a little bit about car races with this, and so I thought it was fun. So in order to participate, the instructions are here. I'm going to put them in the chat. I encourage everybody to get on there and create a racer. All you got to do to get on the leaderboard at all, like this one down here, is you just have to make this very first challenge 0 work. And that's a very simple, well, it's very, I tried to make it as simple as possible while still creating the skeleton and framework for an AI API that supports audio. So the very first challenge, you need to make it respond with your racer name. So you go to the participate page, and you have to have a client ID and a client secret to participate. That's all the login there is. Let me see if anybody in here. I don't know what everybody's alias is, but I'm looking at both of your names and I don't see any of your names on here. So I'm assuming you haven't scored yet. So maybe we'll do a study group about how to score. I am not allowed to race on my own racetrack, so you can't see me on here, and neither my team members either. So I have a couple of people helping me with the website, and I think they're down here. So there's Philip and Coy. They're both working on it with me, and these are all the people who've helped with the site in the past. Whitney did some recent stuff, but all these people have made various contributions to make this speedway run, so that we can, have a chance to compete. So to get a client ID in secret, there's a link right here, or there's a link in the instructions, which is right here. It's the word here, right? So I'm going to go to the participate page. I'm going to hit here button. It's going to take you to the race API. And this is what you need to register for access for, right? You don't need to do much with this API. This is just for access to race in the race. So you'll hit this little login button at the top right. And you always want the blue sign in with Anypoint platform, because you are not a part of my company. So the SSO is not going to work for you. So you have to do the sign in with Anypoint platform link. When you click that, I'm not going to recommend that you use any Anypoint logins if you already have them, because it'll take them away from the account you already set up. So always, I recommend, if you're starting the race, make a new account just for the race. And that way it leaves your other MuleSoft stuff unaffected, right? So I'm gonna hit this sign up button. You're gonna get an email from the MuleSoft salespeople. Don't worry too much about that. Just this is founder country United States. I don't mind putting my real information in here, but I'm not gonna put my real phone number, because otherwise they do call me every time I set a new account up. So put all that in here, and then education. So what I do for the phone number is 111111111, like that. That makes them not be able to call me. So I'm going to put Arheg Racer May 2025. You can make as many usernames as you want for Anypoint platform with the same email. So I'll just make one right now. As you can see, I've made a bunch with my autocomplete, right? All right, good. You now have my account. They want to make sure you're not creating a bot, which is funny because MuleSoft makes robotic process automation, which is a bot software. So this is to catch people who know how to do that from registering accounts with a bot. I agree to the terms of service. I'm going to create my account. There we go. I suppose I can save the password. And we're going to authorize Anypoint Speedway to access the account we just created. This gets us into the race. So you do need to say yes here or you won't be in the race, and then you can just make another account. So I'm going to do that. There we are. So now I have an Anypoint platform account. You can tell I'm logged in with this RH at the top. So the next step is, now that I've logged in, there's going to be a request access button here. And I don't know, I guess I didn't put instructions here about request access. Let me see. It just says get a client ID in secret. It doesn't tell you that. So I guess I'll tell you that now. If you haven't worked with Anypoint Platform API management before, this is kind of a standard way with Anypoint you get access to APIs. Is you log into the API portal, and then you have to hit this request access button to get access to the API. So you're going to pick the production instance, and you're going to create a new application. So I'm going to hit that. And this is going to be my sample racer. Now, this name just goes to me. This doesn't go in the leaderboard. So you can put whatever you want there. May 2025. I'm going to see it, but it won't show on the leaderboard. So you don't need to fill in any other fields. You hit create. If you're watching the video, you can pause it, get yours done. And then for the SLA tier, just always pick compete, because I'm not going to approve anybody getting internal SLA tier. So just do compete only. And that tells you how much API access you have. You don't even need very much API access, because the way the race works, you aren't calling the race API, it's calling you. So you have to put an API out there that's available. And so that's not going to use up your rate limits. So this is just for you to interact with the race software. That's all. So you hit request access, gets you in, and you're going to have a client ID and a secret. So you take that client ID, and you're going to go to the participate page and paste it in there. And you get the secret, paste it in there, and you hit submit, and it'll work. Now you have racer setup. All this is one-time stuff before you get to write code, right? So I'm going to put Ryan Test Racer, and my email is going to be at integration.quest. This is internal too for now, although we might do more profile stuff later. And you need an API URL, and I don't have an API URL. So I'm going to put https://fake.cloudhub.io and hit save. And of course, it's going to not work because I don't have an API there, right? That doesn't exist. So my next job is to go make an API. Now, if you look at the instructions, that'll tell you to do that, right? So you need to make an API that that is accessible from the race software. Okay, so we're going to go make a Mule application to do this check name thing. We need to verify the display name matches the audio. Okay, so it says when you turn on the switch indicating you're in the race, we'll send a GET request to your voice name resource. I think I need to do an update to these help instructions, because when I hit that, it doesn't quite show you this. I wonder what I can do about that. Go back to my instructions. Okay. I'm going to make the help instructions better here, but there is a link here that says a GET request. That actually takes you to an API spec that I didn't mention in the help file, and I think I need to add to that. So let me do that. So I click the GET request. It's going to take you to this whole page called Racer API, right? And before anything works, you got to get the health check to work. It's not going to work until you make a health check work. So my bad, I need to update the instructions. Seems like a couple of people got past that hurdle, but only 5 of them. So only 5 people have figured that out so far. So that could be why not so many people are participating yet. So in order to get it to work, you're going to need to make this, not this, you're going to need to make this Racer API. I'm going to put the link in the chat in case you're watching. Here you go. And you can just, that's what we're going to go implement. And you see, it's got a few endpoints on it. So we need to make an API with a health check and then with this voice name thing on it, right? This get/voice/name speaker racer name. So let's start with the health check. That'll be a good start, right? So I'm going to go make a Mule application. We're going to make a new sample racer. and I'm going to authenticate with my new account on Anypoint platform because it has some free credits, right? So I'm going to add, what did I put? RHEG Racer May 2025. And 1, 2, 3. That's better. So now I've authenticated to the Anypoint platform, so I'll be able to deploy my software, right? So I can make a new app, Sample Racer, and we're going to put an HTTP listener in here so it can receive API calls, right? I'll call this my API flow, or I'll call this my health flow. We're going to do health on this one, right? So let's see how quickly we can get on the board, and then I'll just go delete my. I haven't raced in production in a long time. Get/health. We're going to add a listener on 8081, which is what CloudHub is expecting. And the path is going to be /health. And I'll go to the advanced menu and put get. There we go. And it just needs to respond with OK. See, 200 OK. So I'm just going to put a very simple transform message in here that responds with text plain and the string OK. I'll even rename it to OK. And I'm going to go put this in CloudHub. That's it. Because I want to get started, right? So I'm going to go, yeah.
Why we're not, scaffolding it? I mean, importing from CloudHub and proceed with that.
You certainly could. If you do it, if you do that, you're going to want to download the API.
Yeah.
And put it in your own Anypoint platform as RAML. Because I've tried it the other way where you log in with a new account and try to use this exact API and it won't deploy to CloudHub 2.0 that way. So what I recommend for that, which is a longer way around, but it's a better way, I agree with you, is download the RAML, create your own Design Center API with this RAML, and then scaffold it.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's a great idea, I think, because then you know what all the different endpoints are, right?
Yeah,
very good. So you're right, I'm doing the shortcut, which has
okay.
Yeah, so we're going to do Anypoint platform deploy to CloudHub. Sample Racer, shared space. This all looks good to me. Since I'm on a trial account, I may as well give it more. It doesn't need more. It can work with 0.1, but I'm going to beef it up for no reason and deploy the application. And once it deploys, we're going to get a URL, and we can use that for the race and set up our racer. Okay, good. So I'll just go back to my Anypoint platform now. Now I can go where I logged in. I guess I can just go to Anypoint like this. Since I'm already logged in, I don't feel like doing that. I'll go to Runtime Manager where the application is getting deployed. Go to Sandbox. And there's my racer getting started. Let's watch the logs and see what's going on. Already I have a URL though. See, there's my URL. So I could copy that and go back to my participate. And I can change my URL. Oh, still failed. But we're closer, right? Just watch the logs till it started up. Okay, I'm green, So let's try this again. I'll just hit the pencil on my eraser, so it lets me edit it again, and I'll just save it again. No, it's still not good, though. Do I see any logs here? Oh, it's still starting. It's green, but I still don't see it actually started. Started server connector. Where's the one that says? I'm going to try this. Go to settings. I'm just going to go to my API 502 bad gateway. See, it's still getting bad gateway. So I'm still getting 502. Gotta wait. Gotta be patient. It said 2 minutes ago. What's it taking so long for? That looks like it. Says running, but it wants me to apply changes. I didn't change anything, did I? Logs. Diagnostics. Dashboard.
Apply change is always there, like whether we change it or not, that button is there always.
It's just there anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder why I'm still getting 502. You notice when I went back to applications, it gave me this warning. There's a delay updating applications. I wonder what that means. Because 502 means
Gateway.
that's what I used to get if the application was not listening on the right port. Could I do that? Let's see. I'll run it locally. Oh, it said my file wasn't saved. I bet you my application actually isn't listening. What does that mean? Oh, I want this to be properties, Java build path. Why is it on 8? I guess my workspace default is Java 8. Let's go to 17 like we're supposed to. Oh, I need I need 17 in here. Where's 17? I think I just reinstalled from scratch, and for some reason I don't have 17 in here.
Should be embedded, right? If we are using 7.20 or 21.
Yeah, but I don't have 17 in my list. Ever since I just reinstalled it. I have it on my machine, right? History. Let me do it this way. There's my 17. So I need to get 17 from here. So that's my Java 17. And I can just go fix that. This is, I reinstalled my Anypoint Studio, and I guess it doesn't have Java 17. I'm surprised, but whatever. Wonder what this does. Mac OS X VM, standard VM. All right, I'm going to do like that. Tamarin, Java 17, finish. And I'll make that my default. And then let's go edit the project, go to the build path. Now it says Java 17. Okay, let's see what happens. That wasn't what we were studying today. Looks like that fixed the startup. Yeah, the problem was I just didn't have my file saved. So let's Anypoint platform, deploy to Cloud Hub again. It should pick up the same deployment. It says apply changes. Still doing Maven stuff in the back. You can kind of see it. All right, close the window and let's go watch it in Management Center. It's not going to be that fast. So I think what I'm going to do in today's study group is I'm going to get on the leaderboard, and then I'm going to go after the study group and delete myself off the leaderboard. I can go in the database and do that because it's not fair for me to compete. Bet you if I scaled it, I'm glad I did 0.2. 0.1 would be booting up even slower. Message source listener successfully started. I think I'm going to be good, right? Yeah, there's my okay. Ready? So now if I go back to my test racer in the participate page and I hit the little pencil and I hit save again, now connection health is green and I have the choice to enter the race, right? So there's a little switch here. Once you get your connection health to work with that health operation, right? So basically, once this works, the health, then you're going to have the option to enter the race, right? So if you hit the switch on, oh, it's going to give me an error. HTTP get on voice/name not found, right? And of course it's not, right? If I put /voice/name here, I'm going to get a 404, right? We didn't code that, right? So we got a little closer. Let's even go look at, we should see it in the logs here too, right? No listener for endpoint. It'll show up in a minute. So let's go see what happened on the leaderboard anyway. On the leaderboard, I'm not on the leaderboard. Okay. So getting the health endpoint to work just gets you started. So now let me get logged back in here. Looks like I can take the trailing URL off. My connection health works fine, but speak your name doesn't. So let's go implement that. Go back to the Racer API. There is a get name, and it needs to return audio/MP3, right? And if we go back to the instructions, let's see what it says about that. So the first challenge is to verify the display name matches the audio. So whenever you turn on the switch indicating you're ending the race, we're going to send a GET request that should have an audio MP3 file. Our application will then test to see if the display name matches the MP3 file audio. It's like a little authentication thing. You'll earn a point if the display name matches the audio. So what I'm going to do, go back to my participate. I need to make Ryan Test Racer match my audio. So I'm going to do a super easy way. I'm not going to use AI. The last study group I did on the Speedway was about a month ago, and we used the Whisper connector from Mac Project to generate audio. So what I'm going to do today is a much simpler way to get started anyway. I can use QuickTime on my Mac, or you can use Windows Media Player, and we can record audio. Rel new audio recording. Hit the little button. Ryan Test Racer. And I wonder, now I need to convert this to MP3. So I'm going to hit save. Doesn't look like it lets me pick a format. So I'm going to have to do a conversion. Ryan Test Racer. Let's see what format I got anyway. It's an M4A, so we're not quite there yet. So we need to convert M4A to MP3. Cloud Convert converts your audio files online. Looks good to me, guys, right? So we're going to go upload my desktop M4A to MP3, convert. Nothing happened. There's like a little player here. What happens if I download it? So it says I have an MP3. Let's find out. I'm going to open it with the VLC player. Ryan Test Racer. It worked. Okay, I don't know if you guys could hear that. That MP3 is good. Okay, so I'm going to drop that in my source main resources folder on my Racer. All right, I'm going to use just like this. Put it in my source main resources. And we're going to make a flow that returns that from an API call. So I'm going to make another listener. Of course, you can use scaffolding. I totally agree with that. And then, but I'm not, right? So this is going to be the check name flow, right? /voice/name. And when you're doing yours, go check. Like every step of the way, one little typo, you're going to mess up, right? So I'm going to go back to the instructions. Check name. It says /voice/name. We had somebody who accidentally had voices with an S. I think we had a bug in our documentation also about that. So the other way to check it is you go to the Racer API and we check the docs here too. It's /voice/name, right? So get /voice/name. And it needs to return a media type of audio MP3. So we have voice name. We're going to make it a get request. I'm going to go back to general. This one should say get /voice/name. And I'll make the flow called check voice, check name flow. And what I'll do to pick up the data from the hard drive, I found a couple of ways to do this. I'm going to do a very kind of low level, easy way. It's not the most performant way. It's kind of expensive, but I'm going to do it anyway. Set payload. And I'm going to use read URL class path Ryan test racer.mp3, and I'm going to make it read it as application/octet stream because turns out DataWeave does not have an audio MP3 format. It doesn't know about that format. So best I can do is binary, right? And I need it to come out as audio, right? So what I'm going to do, let me put this in the display name here, is I'm going to go to the MIME type. And I'm going to hard code it to audio/MP3. And I think what I can do is run this application locally again this time because I want to, this is one where I don't want to wait 4 minutes for a deployment and then test it on CloudHub. So I'm going to run locally. I like the fact that Postman works. Turns out when I was working on this, I realized Postman works well with non-text responses, right? So if I put a new window here, localhost 8081/voice/name, and I hit send. Whoop, I didn't spell it right. Let's do that again. Look, I get this little preview down here. So, kudos to Postman, guys. That was cool that Postman did that, right? So I hit play. Ryan Test Racer. And I have an API that can speak. Right? So let's deploy it.
Very cool.
Yeah. Takes a little while to deploy. That's why we tested locally. So this is the first time I've ever put a production racer in the Speedway. I've done a bunch of them in our test environment, but you guys are here for my first score. and it's gonna disappear by tomorrow. So I need to be disqualified. So I think we should be deploying again. Yeah, there we go. So if you want to see how to generate that speech with code instead of your voice, we have a video up of the study group. I was from, not the last one, the one before. So what's today? Today's May the 16th? No, today's May the 9th. Yeah. So that would have been April 25th. That was the architecture. So April 11th or April 18th. That's the one where we did the Whisper connector. The connector is here, macproject.ai. There's a connector called the MuleSoft Whisperer. I am a maintainer of this connector, and this allows you to do text to speech and speech to text in your application code instead of from recording MP3 files, right? So that's not what today's about. That's what the last study group was about. So we're up and running. So we're going to go back and we're going to try this again. Ready, save, check in the health. We're going to turn on our little switch. Hey, it turned green. Look at that. And your racer is currently active. And you see I have a little 1 point here, right? If you go to the leaderboard and refresh it, what's going on with my leaderboard? Oh, look at that. Now we have previous and next. It doesn't tell you there's any next, I guess. So there's a weekly leaderboard and there's a daily leaderboard. See that? So today I'm in third place because I got 1 point, right? Now, if you're very determined, you can go back to the participate page and you can just hit the button again. Turn the switch off. Turn the switch back on. And you'll get 2 points. And then turn it off again. You can sit here and click the switch over and over again if you're very, very patient and get your score to go up. But you can probably see there's a better way to get your score to go up. There's no way that Matthias got thousands of points by clicking this switch over and over and over, right? So the next step is bias detection. Let's go to the instructions. This is going to be where you actually need to use an LLM. So if the switch is on, we're going to send a post request to your bias detection /article containing 5 articles, and your racer has to identify which one has a bias. And if you select the right one, you're going to get points. Okay, so let's actually just go look at the racer API. This is the bias detection down here. You're going to get this JSON. Now that you've got your name working right, you're going to get a JSON every 5 minutes. As long as your API is up, it'll be a different JSON with these news articles in there. See these? And one of those news articles is going to be biased. You don't know which one. And you have to identify which article is biased. So the response you need to respond with is the title of the biased article, what kind of bias the article has, and why it is biased. Right? So that's not something that's very easy to do with plain old data weave. So you're going to need to use an LLM. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get set up for that one, and I'm going to show you the new Mac Project inference connector. So there's already been a lot of posts and content about the MuleSoft AI chain connector. This came out like late 2003. It's like was the beginning of MuleSoft integrating with LangChain4j, like a way that you could use AI agents in your Mule applications. That was kind of the 1.0 MuleSoft connector for LLM use. There's a new one. This is kind of the second generation LLM connector, and it's really just focused on LLMs. It's called the inference connector. And it supports a whole lot more LLMs, and it has separate connections for vision, image, moderation, and inference. So I'm going to encourage you guys, since you're the two who are here, you're the first ones who've heard me give you a hint that this is probably a good way for the challenge because you can connect to all these different AI connectors, right? So I have already myself, I have Mistral, I have OpenAI. I guess what I could use one that I use Grok already. So I've been trying different ones. I think today I have Cohere. I'm not going to use Cohere though. I have Azure OpenAI and Anthropic. So I have 6 of these that I've been given a try to. I think I like to do something unusual. So we could do I bet you Mistral is not the most common one. So we could do a little Mistral solution today, right now. So first of all, I guess I like to just get another listener in here, right? That goes for bias detection / articles. So I'm just going to copy that. It's a post request, not a get request, right? So we're going to call this our bias detection flow. Yeah. And we're going to create this listener as a post with whatever I just copied and pasted. That didn't work. Oh, looks like Anypoint Studio crashed. That was too hard for Anypoint Studio. I guess I've been trying to teach Visual Studio Code we have a class. So Integration Quest has we do public classes, and so keep your eye open for those. Integration.quest. I'm not going to make this into a big commercial, but I am in the middle right now of teaching the professional integration with MuleSoft class. Started in April. So for this class, we started doing the class in Anypoint Code Builder, and just this week we finally gave up and said we're not getting far enough, and we had to switch back to Anypoint Studio. So I tried to teach the class in Code Builder, just had too many problems for people's desktops. So that's why you'll still see me doing these community things in Anypoint Studio, even though Anypoint Studio is not perfect either, you know. But Code Builder was just there were some unusable things in Code Builder. So it looks like my entire change got lost. So let's just do it again. Here's a listener. I'll make this the bias detection flow. And the listener is going to do post. And let me go do another copy paste here. Looks like it went on the next line for some reason. All right. The path is that. And the method is post. We're started, okay? And what I'm going to do just to see what's actually happening here, I'm going to put a logger of the payload, and I'm going to put a transform message that just does the basic, kind of like scaffolding would do. So it seems like we're going to get a title and some content, and we need to give back a title, a type, and a reason with a biased article around it. So I'm going to copy this JSON. Oh, I'm not going to copy it. I'm going to put JSON. I'm going to put biased. Actually, I can use the shorthand here. Biased article and title. I'm just going to do payload.subzero.title. I'll just take the first one, basically. Right? And the type is going to be negative. Oh, for type, you have to kind of put it in quotes because it's a reserved word. And for reason, I'm just going to put, I don't need it in quotes. I don't know. Right? Just to give a compliant answer to start with, right? I just want to do the bare minimum, right? So I can deploy this while we're figuring out about the inference connector. So let's do that. Saved it. I'm going to take sample racer and we're going to deploy it. All right. It's like it doesn't know it's already there, though. I don't like that. So I'm going to hit cancel. It's like Anypoint Studio forgot. So I'm just going to export. Anypoint Studio didn't know that the application was already deployed. I'm going to export a deployable archive to my desktop. And then I'll just deploy that with the web console because I don't trust it anymore. So I'll go here to settings and we can just choose file and upload that from my desktop and apply the changes. So we'll get that deploying. I'm going to wait for the progress bar before I leave the screen just because I'm superstitious. I like to see it finish. All right, good. So off it goes. And while it's deploying, I'm going to go back in here and we are going to add the inference connector. So the way you do that is you go to macproject.ai, you go to the docs for the connector. I'm going to put this link in the chat too. macproject.ai. Right? And then you go to the getting started for the MuleSoft inference connector. Right? And you scroll down and you see this Maven Central version 0.5.7. That's going to go here. So I just copy. You can't use Exchange for these they're not certified connectors. So you have to just add them into your application with the POM file. So I'm going to copy this pom.xml code right here. See that? And I'm going to go into my application. I'm going to go down to the pom.xml and we're going to add a dependency right there. And then I cannot stand things being formatted badly, so I had to get it indented. Now, this version is still wrong, right? You remember what it was? It was 0.5.7. You can trust that badge. 0.5.7, okay? And I save it. And now when I go back to my code, you're going to see I have a MuleSoft inference connector here in my palette. And there's a lot here. I'm going to recommend we don't need to really browse all this stuff. We just need completions. You can get into prompt templates after you get it working. I would recommend you just do a basic completion to start with, right? So now what we want to do is we want to do a completion right there after our logger. And I'm going to immediately begin by setting up my connector, okay? So if we're going to use my Mistral account, let's get logged into Mistral. Am I already logged in? I can't tell if I'm already logged in. There we go. I'm going to sign in. I did do my sign up months ago. I just thought I would use one I haven't been using, you know. So here's my Mistral account. It says French stuff up here. So anyway, I'm going to go to the API keys. Looks like I don't have one. So let's make one. Sample eraser. Yeah, 2025-05. There we go. We're going to have this thing expire on Sunday. For your eraser, you probably want a longer than that, but I am probably going to disclose my API key here in the video, and I don't want other people using my API key. So I'm going to have it expire on Sunday and create a new key. And there's my API key. See, I just exposed my API key to all you guys. So if you're quick. Anyway, we're going to go put that in our connector configuration. So I have a Mistral API key. I'm going to hit plus, and we're going to pick inference type. You have to hit this little refresh. I've noticed that it's not so quick. And here's all the LLMs you can use. I'm going to use Mistral. And again, I just picked Mistral because I wanted to pick something new. Try different LLMs on your own, right? And I'm just going to paste the API key in there and hit refresh on the models. I would recommend, especially when you're starting, to pick the most powerful model they have, which is the large latest. You're going to need to up your max tokens because these Formula One articles are very, very long. So tips and tricks, that's a lot of tokens, right? So I'm going to go back to Mistral and see if I can find out what is the max tokens that they allow. Text generation. Maybe there's a tokenization. Is there something here that says what their max is? So a bunch of science about it, which is interesting, but I didn't want to teach that today. Tokens count. There should be a rate limit thing in here somewhere. Clients. Rate limit, there it is, under the platform. Let's see. Rate limit and usage tiers. Restrictive rate. So they're going to go to the limit section on La Platform. So I have a $150 limit. You have to be careful. You will definitely reach your limits playing with my thing here. Looks like I got a pretty high. Let's see what the large one is, though. 500,000 tokens per minute. That's pretty high. So I'm going to have my request in that range. I'm going to do, because we're only going to do one request every minute anyway, right? So I'm going to set this up to 50,000. That looks good. I'm not going to mess with the rest for now. I'm not going to do any MCP stuff. That's different. And I'm going to call this my Mistral text gen config. Sweet. And if I hit test connection, let's see what it does. Looks okay. And just to prove it, I'm going to put dash, 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 dash after the end of the API key. Nope. So test connection isn't telling me anything, right? So I'm going to press OK. Anyway, I've now got that. Now what I have to do is give it a message. What does it want here for the messages? Messages. Let's go back to the documentation for Mac Project. Getting started. Looks like I want to go to supported operations chat. And in here, payload.prompt is going to be, see, this is chat answer prompt. Maybe I should have done that one. Because I did the other one, right? I did a completion. Retain conversation history for multi-user chat operation. I don't really want to do that. So maybe we'll go back to the chat answer prompt after all, right? And I'll just put a prompt in here. That'll be a lot simpler. So let's do that. Let's kill this completions thing. Let's put an answer prompt in here. And I want the answer to be in a target variable. So this is going to be LLM response, target variable. And now it's a little better. Now I'm going to give it a prompt. So let's write ourselves a little prompt. It'll be something like this. Identify the article that is biased and complete the following JSON. And format your response as follows. And then what I'll do is I'll put the actual Racer API example in here. Copy. You can do this with LLMs, right? How am I going to do this? There's a lot of quotes in there. I'm just going to have to escape it, right? Paste. So let's just escape it. So backslash. I'm going to put the new lines in here too. So what I have to do is all these little quotes are going to have to be backslash so I can put this in DataWeave, right? Wait a minute. I don't want that. I want a backslash there, backslash there, backslash there. Here we go. And the new line here. And then finally, backslash here, backslash n. So I've basically given it the format that I want the response in. And then I'm going to tell it even more. Backslash n, backslash n. Do not provide any other output. Here are the possible, here are only one of these articles is biased. And then colon, and then I'm just going to put backslash n, and then append the payload. Now the payload is going to be JSON, right? So I suppose I need to write the payload as application JSON, otherwise it won't be able to be appended, right? So I think that should work. What I'll do, I'm not going to have it mess my response up yet. What I'm going to do instead is put a logger after it so I can see what it does, right? So I'm just going to log vars.llm response, and then I'm going to surround that whole thing in an async because at first I just want to see what it does and I don't want it to break my racer, right? So I stick the whole thing in an async, and now if there's an error, my racer is still going to work fine, right? So I can save that. Am I still running? No, let's run it locally. And what I'm going to do is take the input from here, this whole long thing, copy it. And we are going to use Postman to take the sample input and try it with a real LLM. And I don't know if it's going to work because I just winged it all in one shot. So let's see. So we're going to post to /bias detection. What is it? /articles. And the body needs to be raw JSON. And we're going to paste. That doesn't look long enough. We need to paste all of this in there. That looks better. Oh, look at that. It's 4 lines long. It's not 4 lines long. It's just extremely long. Okay, good. See what happens. All right. And what happened in my log files? Okay, we got a response. See that? Looks like it's a response, and it has some extra stuff before the curly brace, but it does look like it wrote JSON for me, right? Which is good. Type, negative, reason, questions, Ocon's talent, and potential. It's pretty close. So see how after the last curly brace, there's more text in there? So I think what we want to do is chop off everything before the first curly brace and after the last curly brace, right? So let's do that. And then I'm actually going to take this out of the async. And let's look again. So it's an object that has a response, which is a string, right? So here we're going to take, we're just going to trust, we're going to see if the LLM just does it for us. Ready? So we're going to take vars.llm response dot response. I wonder why it knows that. Interesting. That's going to be a string, right? So what we're going to do is we need to trim stuff off the beginning and off to the end. So data weave documentation. There are string functions for this kind of stuff. Substring after and substring before last. Those are the ones I think I need. So I want substring. No, actually I don't. Let's prove it. Let's prove it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the data weave playground. And I'm going to take the response from my logs, which is this whole thing. And we're going to put that in LLM response. All right, so if I did LLM response, I'm going to get that dot response. Now I get that, right? This is what we have to work with. So we're going to do that, and we're going to import strings. And we're going to do that substring after. And if I just do substring after that, I don't get the opening curly brace, which is fine, though. I can just add that. Yeah, that's fine, right? And then I'll do it again. I'll do substring before last, that. So now that's what I have, right? So let's do this. Vars response content is equal to that. And then I'll just do plus response content, 2 pluses. Now I put it back together, and then we can read the whole thing, right? Like that. That didn't work. Unexpected end of input at line 7. Expected this. Oh, okay. So that means I have to put the final one on it also, right? No, that also didn't do it. Oh, Boom. That's what I need to do, right? So I took off everything up to this and everything, including this and to the end, and then I just put them back on again. And we now have JSON back from the LLM in our own format. So I don't even have to do data weave. I just let the LLM do it, right? So I can just kind of take this exactly like I just did it and drop it in my transform message. Boom. And this needs to be vars.llm response. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care about that. Let's try it again. Yeah, I see you gotta go. I know we're right at the end of our hour. Let's do okay. I'm gonna run it one more time and we'll just leave it here if it works. We ran out of time. Let's run it. Boom. Negative. The article is negatively biased towards Esteban Ocon, emphasizing his struggles and doubt. So we did it. We integrated an LLM, right? And we got the LLM to generate what the API needs. So the next step would be deploy that to Anypoint platform and get on the leaderboard, right? So we did a lot in an hour. So anyway, I appreciate you, Ayalu, for coming, and Jonathan to the study group. I hope more people come, and I hope to see your names on the leaderboard pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely. I think I get a lot of information, especially on the LLM and everything, the voice. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I learned
Great.
a lot.
Thanks for coming. Hope to see you in a future one.
Oh, definitely. I will. I'm not gonna miss anyone, any meeting going forward.
Great. All right. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.